Hey, hey! Happy Thursday, everybody. Come on in. Let's get busy. We've got so much to do today. We're going to talk about self-sabotage, which I happen to be the queen of and know all about. If this is something that you've struggled with, we're going to talk about that a little bit today. So you're probably wondering, where are you? This is different. Well, I am working with a NutriCoach client who has flown in so that we can get busy and get really granular on her business. So she is here and in my guest room also slash office. And she's up there right now working on her website with our web developer. And so I am downstairs in the dining room, and what you see behind me, that is a mirror, which is reflecting the wood beam post and over into the catwalk there. That's what's going on. Hey, Jen. Hey, Catherine. Guys, come on in. Hello, Cynthia. How are you today? Looks like everybody's coming on in. I like that. I like it when we get everyone in. And by the way, Dina is out of surgery, so thanks so much for all your prayers. And she's done really well, so that's good. Marla, as you know, picked up Ben on Tuesday, and that's really good. So that's a big plus, and she's helping him get it all done. Hi, Amy. Bobby says, self-sabotage, count me in. Okay, well, we're going to talk about that because honestly, self-sabotage, in my opinion, is just one of those little layers of, oops, sorry, I did it again. You know what it is? It is a layer of perfectionism. How do you like that? Doesn't it always come back to that? That's what we're going to discuss today. But before we do, let's go through a couple of things because I want you to start to dream, right? Because at the end of the day, it costs nothing to dream, but it costs everything if you don't. I love that. Our friend, Rita Davenport, gave that. Jill, I'm not going to give you my address on Broad whatever. Do I look like I've been crying? Really? Why do I look upset? Are you talking about me, Bobby? Do I look that bad? Sorry. I guess it's just bad light. I need better light, I guess. Maybe I should turn off that light over there. Maybe it makes my nose look red and shiny. Maybe I need more powder. Maybe I'm like self-sabotaging here. I don't know. I am not crying and I'm fine. I do look like I'm crying? No, I'm not. Oh, Amy says I look amazing. So there, Bobby, bite me. It's the reflection on my glasses, probably. I'm probably having a hot flash. What else is new? Okay, so come on in. When we get to 100, I will start there. It is my eyes, huh? My eyes better without my glasses? Sorry, what you are seeing is the reflection of everything around me. So, I'm still okay. I'm still among the living, at least for right now. Body clutter. I have a body clutter book here that I am going to be giving away sometime this month. As soon as Marla gets back, everything's kind of in flux right now. We're having massive prayer for her, for Ben, for Dina. I mean, there's a lot of things going on right now. So we're just kind of pulling in the wagons and bringing in our people and holding everybody close in prayer and giving them a lot of love. So that's what we're doing right now. Yeah, Bobby, you don't apologize. Get out of here. You're fine. I just drooled. All right. Listen, I'm just rolling with it. I am sitting here in my dining room. That is a mirror behind me that is reflecting the catwalk and what have you over here. And all I'm doing is I am rolling. I'm rolling with it, and maybe my light isn't so great. I definitely need to see my hairdresser. I've got it going on. What do you want? So there's a lot of people right now who have finished up the sprint. There's a lot of people right now who are getting onto the sprint. And I'm going to just tell you right now, I see the sprint as just such a foundational thing. And without the sprint, I think a lot of us would not be in the place that we are. So if you haven't joined the sprint yet, please do. Go to savingdinner.com/sprint. And by the way, totally free. 100% free. I like free because free is a good way to open the door and get the understanding of what it is that you need in your life. And sometimes we think it's smaller jeans, but then we find out it's something quite different, right? Am I right? I know that's what it was for me. You know, those size 6 jeans meant something, but then they didn't mean enough because I got out of my size 6 jeans. So I'm working my way back into them again. And I call it the carousel of crazy. And you know, I keep telling everybody it's time to get off the carousel of crazy, but it isn't just time to get off the carousel of crazy. We have to get off the carousel of crazy, we have to unplug it, and then we need to pack it up and throw it off a cliff. Don't even recycle it. We just have to get rid of it 100%, right? Am I right? Listen, if you've been on the carousel of crazy, you can throw me some hearts right now because I know there's a lot of sisters out there who have been on the carousel of crazy. So I bet you have. I bet you have. I bet you've gone through it and seen it a million times. So don't forget that Friday, here come the hearts. Yep, there it is. Yes, dismantle it, destroy it, take a hammer to it. I like it. But you know, it's not just enough to get off because we've gotten off and then we get back on again. Have you ever done that before? Have you gotten onto a carousel? You've gotten onto a carousel and then you jump right back onto it? You can do that. You know, we can do that. We have the power to do that. We have the talent to do that. And part of the reason we do that is because of self-sabotage. We're talking about that today. But let me just say this, that first of all, if you're not signed up for our emails, you need to be, because I tell you about everything that's exciting that's coming on. We send out a daily email. It's not a big deal. Go to savingdinner.com, just savingdinner.com, and you will get a little pop-up, sign up, and you'll get a free week of menus. A free week of menus. I mean, you can't beat that. Keto, low carb, all of them are there. You choose what you want, take them all, I don't care. But go get them, for heaven's sakes. And Friday is Q&A. Where are my questions? I've got one question. Come on. Tomorrow's Q&A. You want a question answered? Send it to support@savingdinner.com. Otherwise, it's going to be a super short show tomorrow. Usually, I get so many questions, I wonder how we're going to get through it all in an hour. So if you want to be a part of this, all you have to do is send it in, support@savingdinner.com. And speaking of NutriCoach, I am going to mention this because I am working right now with a woman who has got an amazing idea for a business, and we are structuring everything. She's doing a private day with me, and we are structuring everything to create a business that is the business of her dreams. So if you're interested in that, go to NutriCoachSchool.com and you can find out all about it. But, you know, it's not just about just cooking lessons and a couple of other things. You can blow it up and make it big. This is what my friend Denise is doing. She's upstairs right now working with Dan to get her website up, and it's so exciting. This is how I track my sprint. In the sprint, I tell you, you need to track your numbers. What happens when you track numbers, right? That's your GPS that tells you where you are, and it shows you what your journey looks like along the way, and you get it. It's amazing. Love those puppies. Sprint recipes are for sprint only, and keto recipes for non-sprint weeks. You can mix them up. Just as long as you're keeping the cheese out, because we occasionally throw a little bit of Parmesan or something, we throw a little bit of cheese in there, but you can mix them up if you want to. You don't have to have just the keto recipes. I'm just doing that to show you, you don't have to eat like a piece of grilled salmon or steak every day. You can have flavorful things. And as a matter of fact, I suggest you do it so that you can have those for your family. You know, so and give your family that, and then you eat the baked potato, and how do you like that? Suddenly, you're not making two different meals. That's how it should work. So sabotage, I kind of said that we're going to talk about, I said for sure, we're going to talk about sabotage, and we are. We're going to talk about sabotage. Sabotage is something that, have we all done that? I mean, I don't know about you, but I've done that. So here you are, you've had this big weight loss journey, you've done all these things, but you can't help yourself, but by saying, my goodness, you know, I've read a couple of things, and you know, it's funny because when I read these things, I said, I recognize that behavior. I know what that behavior is about. Now, I might have said it differently or done something differently, and of course, I've got a very wise answer for it because I am your fearless leader. But listen, I will tell mouth entertainment. I learned that phrase. That's one of my favorites because we look at our mouths sometimes as entertainments, as an entertainment zone. It's not. This is the fuel. This is where the fuel goes in, right? The fuel goes in here, and that doesn't mean that we need to just be, taking our fuel like a gas can. We can have things that taste delicious and are wonderful, but we also have to understand that when we're bored and we need something else to do, we don't open our mouth and just start stuffing crackers and cookies into yourself. That's my big thing. I have been very, very guilty of that, and we just don't need to do that anymore. We can find other ways to satisfy ourselves and have more fun and more entertainment by not looking at our mouth as the entertainment zone. It's not. But self-sabotage is different because we see ourselves in a very different light. We see ourselves in this light of, well, yeah, I might have done this, but by golly, this is when I always slide down and I self-sabotage and I do this and I do that. And we get out of the habit, and this is from the sprint, I saw there was a post in there. We get out of the habit and we get out of the mindset of being able to celebrate our wins. When we celebrate our wins and we have a lot of stock in the stuff that we do right, it is so much easier for us to build off of that platform. If we look at it going, yeah, but remember the yeah buts? Yeah buts are nothing more than a self-sabotaging phrase, and you can write that down and take it to the bank. The yeah but means that I'm acknowledging that, but I'm also dismissing it. I'm going to go over here and start justifying this behavior, this thought pattern, this, and this, and this, even though it's brought me nothing but disaster in the past. Now think about that and just unpack it for a minute and take a look at how crazy that is. That is the crazy train. That's not the carousel of crazy. That's the crazy train. That's full on crazy. Because the carousel of crazy is when we keep doing the same things over and over again and expecting different results, and we're going up and down with our weight and all of that. But the crazy train is when we get on to the crazy bus or the crazy train or whatever it is, and we just start heading into this path to justify our self-sabotaging behaviors. We justify it. We feel absolutely 100%, well, this, but I'm talking from experience here. This is what I've done. But what I say is we have to readjust our must. It's not about being perfect. It's about being excellent. And just because you were here before doesn't mean you have to go back that place and understand where you came from. I've always heard, and you've always heard this too, that people that we've seen success, they never forget where they've come from. People who've come from a place of poverty and a sad place of woe, and whatever their sad situation is, a horrible childhood or whatever, they don't forget where they came from. But that hasn't stopped them from building the life that they want. So don't forget where you came from, but look at that past behavior. Look at that past and say, okay, yes, historically in the past, this is what I have done. But today, this is not going to be my path, because here's my self-correction. So when we readjust our must, we understand that we're going from this place of perfectionism to a place of excellence, which means that we're always going to be doing our best. And sometimes doing our best is, I love what Marla says when, and this is from like 19 years ago when I very first met her, and I was reading about her whole system, and there were so many things that I went, oh, it clicked in here, and it clicked in there, and it clicked in here, and it was totally dashing my perfectionism against the rocks. Just vacuuming the middles was enough. Who knew? Who knew? It's just a matter, get the dirt up, just do the traffic areas. You didn't have to go in and every single time, get the thing off and vacuum the baseboards and clean as if you were, an indentured servant. But that's not how I was raised. I was raised with a perfectionist mother who, this was just how it was done, and God bless her. She ran a tight ship, and I learned a lot from her. But I also felt, just completely overwhelmed and overdone, especially when you're not born organized. You know what that's about. So you have to readjust your must. You have to say, I don't want this perfectionism. But in the same token, as we throw the perfectionism out, we don't throw away doing things well. We throw away the perfectionism only. And then we come back to this place of saying, I want to do it excellently. I want to do it excellently. Who cares? I'm going to do it. And you know what? Excellence is sometimes in just getting it done. And that includes readjusting your must when it comes to self-sabotage. You don't have to uncover every single jot and tittle of your psyche to figure out what's going on here. You just need to know that, I thought this before, it doesn't work, therefore it's going to go out the door. What can I replace it with? Start there. It is that simple. You don't have to go through Freudian analysis to figure it out. You don't have to go find a counselor and pay great money to get some psych meds and figure it all out and blow your brain up that way. It's really that simple, that sometimes all we have to do is just take a step back and say, I'm going to celebrate this win. I'm going to look here, because here comes all this stuff from the past over here. The past over here is telling me I'm not going to have this success because you've always gotten this far and this is what happens. Do you understand that that's your brain? Your brain is set on keeping you in the same place because this is what your brain understands. Oh, here we are again. You've lost 10 pounds? Sister, I know exactly what this is about. Let's go find some cookies. Let's go find something else. Let's go to the grocery store. Let's go shopping. Let's go drive through here. That is your brain, because your brain has seen this before in the past and is saying, okay, I remember that. Let's go do that again. So as you take this from your brainstem and bring it forward to the frontal cortex, where you can change your mind, that is when you start writing this stuff up. Start writing it out. And it's really super easy to write it out. You just do the pro-con list. I've shown you how to do this. You take a page, you just put a line down the side, and on one side you write what these self-sabotaging behaviors have been and what your new answer to those self-sabotaging behaviors that you hate need to be instead. It's that simple. And you can take that and you can put them in 3x5 cards if you want, and you can start pulling them out. Retrain your brain. You can retrain your brain, because our brain, let's just say, I like a little alliteration and some rhyming, but our brain really does take us on the crazy train, doesn't it? Our brain is the crazy train sometimes and convinces us that it's not going to last forever, that you're not going to be able to enjoy this success, and that it's just a matter of time before here it all comes back and you go right back to where you were. But it doesn't have to be, does it? It doesn't have to be. If you are a sprinter, it doesn't have to be, and not on my watch. I've said that to you a million times, and I mean it, because it doesn't have to be that way. We are in pursuit of excellence, not perfection, and you are in charge of your own brain. You do not have to get on your brain's crazy train. You do not. You can refuse passage. When the conductor says, "Ticket, please," you can say, "I'm good. I'm going to stay right here. I'm not going there again. I'm good. I'm going to just stay right here." So we also have to understand that this is what happens to us, is that we have a moment when your brain, and this is when we don't realize what's going on, where your brain is going to start justifying all of this. It's going to give you a reason why. And then that reason why is going to be connected to this reason why, to this, to this, to this. And this is where you have your psyche spiral, and it just goes down and down and down. Well, and then you can go, if you really want to go there, you're going to go back to when I was 6 years old, my dad said, whatever. And we can get wrapped up in that if we want to. Or we can refuse that because, again, that's back to the crazy train thing. And again, you don't have to get on that train. You can refuse passage. You can refuse to get on the train and let it go by without you. That's the hardest part, because there's a big piece of you that wants to get on that because it's known, it's familiar. You know, have you heard this before? And I know you have, that, you know, we sometimes marry our dads, or and our dads have been so awful, and they were abusive, and they were alcoholics, and we end up marrying abusive alcoholics, right? Why? Because it's known. It's known. And the flashing red lights that are inside of us, we push them down because he's so sweet, he's so cute, he's so nice. He's such a gentleman when he's not drunk. He's such a good guy when he's not being abusive, you know, and on and on. We justify that. And this is how we justify our own behaviors. We go into the things that are known, and we think that this is a good enough reason. And then there's another part of the cascade of reasons of why we're going to justify this whole kind of behavior. And we think that we have no time. We think that we have no time for doing the things that we really want to do, for doing the things that are going to really advance that ball down the field. We think that we're out of time, or we forget, or we whatever. So we have to start from ground zero sometimes and realize that it's a matter of planning our day. And a lot of us aren't planners, but we can be if we choose to be. And planning has made all the difference in the world. And I can tell you somebody who has planned, who is on the sprint, who is successful, and somebody who has not planned, who's on the sprint and is weaving and wobbling all over the place. Because that planning brings together everything. That planning builds the confidence, makes you feel like you know what you're doing, and helps you to plan the next step and the next step after the other, and quiets that, you know, wild, crazy voice that's saying, hey, let's go back to what we know, you guys. It's more fun being on the crazy train. Get your tickets now. It doesn't have to be like that. But we also have to understand that it's the planners in life that get all the things that they want. And I've said to you before, and I said this way back in September, plan for the sprint like you're planning for your wedding. In other words, you would never consider putting a date on the calendar to get married without first planning to get your dress, putting the invitations out, getting the caterer set up, doing all the things. You would never do that. You would never walk into Saturday morning and say, geez, I forgot to get a dress, and oh my gosh, what about the flowers? But that's how we do, you know, with these plans, you know, with these diets. And honestly, for a while there, I was thinking, yeah, I really need to charge for something, because I feel like people sometimes don't value something that they don't have to pay for. But at the same time, my whole thing was, you know, I just want to get people into this and help them as much as I can. So even if you're not paying for this, even if this is a free plan, and even if, you know, you can do anything else on the internet and find something on Pinterest or whatever, if you plan for it, you're going to find that you do have the time, number one, and that your excuses and your rationalizations get quieter. Get quieter. Yes, way to go, Linda. I saw your 41 pounds. I'm so proud of you. And then there's temptation, right? Temptation. Temptation is always around the corner. There's always something that's going to pop up. There's going to be cookies in the break room at work. There's going to be a surprise. Your husband's going to say, let's go out for dinner. There's going to be, you know, going to a neighbor's for just a quick little hello. And what are they going to do? They're going to put cookies and ice cream out for whatever. It's always going to be there. And here's the thing. You can make peace with temptation. You can make peace with temptation with this one little sentence. This one sentence. You know, that looks really good, but just not today. I'm just not feeling it. You know, I'm not feeling well for this. But thank you. Maybe next time. And you know what you've done? You have just totally turned the car around. You know, you've gotten off the crazy train, and you've totally turned the car around. We don't have to be, every time a temptation comes around, just because our subconscious has always been in this place of saying, oh, you've got to have that, or yes, you have to do it, or there it is, and you can't resist it. You know, it's like the siren's call and the ship is about to crash into the into the rocks. It's not true. What you need to do is take the emotion out of it. It doesn't belong there. Your emotion belongs, and your feelings and everything else don't belong to food. They belong to people. We can't have an emotional attachment to food. You know, we can't say, oh, it's all about the carbs. If I can't have the carbs, oh, my cheese, my this, my that. I flip, and you've seen me before on the sprint. When you start putting personal pronouns or personal possessives around your food, that's not right. That's weird. So start looking at it with those eyes. You know, it's not about your cheese. It's just cheese. It's not about your cookies or your this. It's just that. It's food. Food doesn't have the capacity to love you back. You're putting all of your love into something that cannot love you back. There's nothing there for you. When it's done, it doesn't care that you've just now destroyed the roof of your mouth eating all of those M&Ms. It doesn't care that you've just destroyed your whole plan and now you're feeling guilty and sick and bloated and all. It doesn't care. It's not there for you. Food is not there for you. Food has nothing to offer you except either destroying your health or helping you to have the building blocks of health. It's that simple. And when we talk about weight loss, all we're talking about really is getting rid of the toxic belly fat and other fat in your body that is causing you health issues. And you might be young and all you care about are those size 6 jeans. That's it. Or size 4 jeans or whatever it is. But at the end of the day, as time goes on and as you take that belly roll with you for 10, 20, 30, 40 years, that toxic fat is going to cause you chronic health problems. And so for those of us who are of an age, it's more than just a vanity thing and looking good. It's also that we want to be around. And we want to have lives that are full and vibrant, and that our children are looking at us and our grandchildren are looking at us as the fun grandma, not the one that needs to be sitting all the time or can't get around or can't go to this and can't walk around here. What do we really want here? What do we really want here? And then there's all the others that we like to blame, right? Well, my husband, well, my people at this, my so-and-so, and all my workmates, they did all of these things, and it's all because of them. That's why I can't. Well, that's convenient, but it's completely untrue. Because you do have a voice, don't you? You do have the ability to reason in your head, don't you? We can't dismiss ourselves as having a voice. We cannot dismiss what we know to be true for us. We cannot dismiss the fact that this has never worked for us before. Why would we think in a million years that it's going to work now? Because this is the thing. Just because your husband says, well, that one bite won't hurt you, does that make it true? Are you not allowed to say to your husband, you know what, that one bite is going to be a problem for me? You know what? Let me just tell you exactly what happens inside. Have you ever had that conversation? It's time to speak up. The more silent you are and the more you go along with the crowd and the more you allow them to take your power away from you, it's on you. No one can make you feel bad without your consent. And the power is yours and yours alone. You own it, sister. If you want to give it away like a deck of cards and just say, here, whatever, everybody grab it. Let's give it to the food. Let's give it to the office mates. Let's give it to my friends over here. Let's give it to anybody who has a little tempting something. Then we're no more than little dogs asking for a treat at the table, are we? Come on. You're bigger than that. You're worth more than that. Hold on to that power. Harness that power. And enjoy the fact that you are a woman of power, of worth, of so much more than you've given yourself credit for. And all these self-sabotaging behaviors need to go away. They need to go to this on the wayside. They need to go away because you are worthy of so much more. And not only that, but you've outgrown it. You've outgrown these behaviors. You've seen your own power. You've seen what you're capable of doing. And so when this old stuff comes back, you need to look at it and say, are you kidding me? Get away from me. Get away from me. It's like you're out in the woods and suddenly this crazy wild dog comes along. What are you going to do? You're going to take out your pepper spray and give it to that dog because that dog's not going to bite you. You've been there before. You've been bitten by that dog. You have a weapon now. You don't go out in the woods anymore without pepper spray, without being aware and knowing that something might show up, but I know what to do. So this is what you have to do. You have to put your mind around it. And you have to understand that your brain is going to want to take you back. Your brain is the crazy train. It is. Come on aboard. Let's go do what we've always done. I like it. And you need to just tell him to take a hike. Go on without me. That's not my train. I'm not taking that path again. And watch for, I've got a really good one that when you sometimes don't know is happening. Watch for your over-explaining. When you over-explain something, that's always a key. That's always a key that maybe something's off. Have you ever seen that? We've heard the term mansplaining, but sometimes we womansplain. And we sit there and we go through this, and there's this, and then there's that. Well, then I'm going to over-explain this, and I'm going to spend an hour and bore you to tears and tell you so many things that I'm trying to convince myself as well. And that is a very huge piece of the puzzle that tells you something's wrong. That's a subtle hint that something's wrong. And you're not listening to yourself. I will tell you this, that inside of every single person that I know is that all-knowing. You have a knowing, and your knowing is connected to your God, and there is this spiritual warmth and peace and all of the things inside of you. I promise you, it's there. For some of us, it's awakening just now. And for some of us, there's a lot of stuff that is just, that's caused us so much grief. And for some of us, we just have to dig out from underneath that and put it aside and just sit right with ourselves and connect with God. And ask Him to open up our knowing. Because our knowing is there. I go through that so much and talk about our knowing, and people call it intuition or whatever, but it's the inner nutritional guru. She will not steer you wrong. It's your inner knowing with your family and with your friends. It's your inner knowing on how you need to deal and how you need to operate in this world. It's there for you. And it was planted in your soul when you were born or before you were born. It's that powerful. But when we tap into that power, that is when we start to make different decisions. That's when we can start seeing, oh my gosh, here comes that crazy train again. And they want me to get on it. But, I know inside of me that it's the same thing that I've always done, and I'm not going to do that anymore. We can do that at any moment in time. Plug in. So control your thoughts. Control your behavior. Put certain things on autopilot and certain things not on autopilot. You see what I'm saying? Some things just need to be on autopilot, and you need to create routines. Piggyback those good habits that we talked about and put them on to the routine that's already exists, that's already automatic, and piggyback. I've told you that. I do that with my coffee. When my coffee is brewing, I race the dishwasher to get it undone. And once that is done, I do a 4-minute workout. And the coffee might beep, beep and tell me, hey, all is well, which I cannot wait for that first cup of coffee. But until that 4-minute workout is done, I will not touch it. And I've made that deal with myself, and it's automatic now. At first, I had to fight myself to do it. But that's how we do things. That's how we get rid of one bad habit and put something else in there that works. Nature abhors a vacuum. We can't just get rid of something. We need to replace it with something else that's good and working for our lives. So question this. Always question what you're doing. Remember this? This is one of the best things ever. Ask yourself this question. Is this creating the life that I want to lead? Is it? Is self-sabotaging a part of the life that you want to lead? Does that create the life you want to lead, or does that put you back on the carousel of crazy? If we're going to get off the carousel of crazy, unplug it, dismantle it, and destroy it with angry, mean hammers that just knock the heck out of it, then we have to understand and we have to know and ask ourselves, is this creating the life that I want to lead? Every time we ask that question, it puts us in a state of coming back to center and going, whoa, wait, no, I don't want that. I'm not going to do that again. So keep that in mind. That question, you need to put that on a 3x5 card and have that. That is your operative question. Ask yourself that all the time. Ask yourself that tomorrow. Ask yourself that when you go to pick up something, some piece of food that is tempting you. Is this food going to give me the life that I want to lead? If the answer to that is no, then say, you know what, I'm just done with this. And I double dog dare you to take that old Kit Kat bar left over from Halloween, or whatever it is, that cookies that you found a dead, stale cookie in the back of the pantry, throw it down the garbage disposal and just say a little prayer. God, help me to become the woman you want me to be. And then the last thing you want to do is say, what can I do instead? What can I do instead? You're doing this now. It's not helping you. It's not creating the life you want. Now look over here. Write out, what can I do instead? This is how we get rid of this self-sabotaging behavior that just absolutely is ruinous and takes us down that path and throws us into this place of the carousel of crazy. I don't want that for you. I don't want it for me. I don't want it for anybody that I know, because that is not a life worth living. That is not worthy of our time. And we know better. We can do better when we know better. But we also have to have a plan on how to get across that chasm and to leave behind the crazy train. And I think that if you readjust your must, start thinking in places of, instead of perfectionism, we're going to go for excellence. If you start to quit justifying all of your rationale and instead plug into your knowing. Plug in, girl. How much power is in there is just, you don't even understand. But it's there. And it's there, placed by God, who loves you so much that He gave you this. He's placed you so that you know how to plate your food. You know how to deal with people who want to help to sabotage you. And it gives you that power also to find your voice and to really speak up for yourself for the first time, maybe. But don't just roll over. Don't just accept. Don't just say, well, maybe next time. Don't just say, just this once I'm going to, and go to a restaurant and just completely blow everything out of the water. You need to know how to navigate these waters. And you can do this. When you decide, I'm not going to self-sabotage anymore. Instead, I'm going to tap into my knowing. I'm going to strive for excellence. And I'm going to surround myself with a tribe that will encourage and support me. So recruit your people. They're there for you. Nobody's going to in my group, not on my watch. You don't fall. You can skittle out of the door if you want to and pretend it never happened. We've got almost 2,000 people in our sprint group. But on my watch, I won't let you fall. You can get in there and you can whine or whatever, and I might give you a stern mama come to Jesus meeting, but I might not, And I might just say, hey, you just need to be loved up here. And you know, this is the thing. We all need to be loved up, but we also need a stern talking to at times. So be a woman of distinction. Be a woman with a core value and the ability to understand that inside is everything that you need. And with you and your Father in heaven, who loves you more than anything in the world, anything is possible. So it's time to ditch the self-sabotaging behavior, and it's time to dig inside because it's there. Peace? All right. So if you are a part of my Hot Melt Club, 2 o'clock, we have our meeting. So let's get busy, and you guys take care. I appreciate you all. Thanks so much for joining me today. And don't forget, if you're not a part of the sprint, it's never too late and it's free. So go to savingdinner.com/sprint. Peace.